I have to admit, I had some trepidation going into this. I was worried that if I hadn't seen the previous 19 films, that the 20th film wasn't going to make any sense to me. But then I remembered I did see a movie called G in 2002. It has nothing to do with this, but it bears mentioning because when I tried to search for it on IMDb tried to gaslight me into believing that there was not a movie called G. And, but there is. And it was about the Great Gatsby. And this is what I'd like to call the spiritual 20th film net franchise. If you let that franchise go on, this is G20. I'm John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic. And yeah, I remember G from 2002. Released in my theater. That's why I was like, IMDb will not gaslight me on this. I don't know why it's not a search result. But this one is an Amazon release that did not go theatrical. It went straight to Prime. So you can just click on Prime and you can watch Viola Davis as the President of the United States. Seems like a smart choice. Can't really argue with that. We've also got Anthony Anderson and Marseille Martin reteaming in the world's least interesting casting decision. They're playing father and daughter again as the first husband and also the daughter of the president. We have some TV regulars in here. Ramon Rodriguez, who plays Will Trent, usually. Antony Starr from The Boys. We've got Elizabeth Marvel, who's been floating around in everything, as has Clark Gregg, most notably Agent Coulson. So that's a pretty round cast that I've presented you thus far. Click like and subscribe because we're going to talk about it. It does have audio description. So I did listen to this with audio description. I think I actually stayed through the credits, and I think I was like surprisingly let down as to like who did the audio description. I think I was like listening for that, and I was like, no, you're not gonna tell me? Okay. So what is G20? Well, it's a summit, and we made a movie about it. So we open up on the White House, and Viola's already president. And of course, there's always some turmoil in whether or not people like or approve of her, or how did she get there? Is she experienced enough? There's some scandal with her daughter going to a club, and I was like, I'll handle it. I got this. I'm a mother. I'm not going to do this in front of the press corps, though. And all of this basically is just like leading up to the eventual G20 summit, which is taking place in South Africa. And they fly out along with the leaders of the other G20 nations. And they're all in one place at one time, which of course would seem like excellent fodder for some sort of rogue terrorist group to come in. So leads to the conversation about, well, they must have an inside person. That comes up really quickly in the movie. So as soon as they say that, I'm like, well, of course there's an inside person because they just said it. From that point on, I was like, wouldn't it be more of a surprise at this point, since you've already mentioned it, if there wasn't an inside person? If you want to like break norms and be remembered for doing something different, once you introduce the idea, when somebody murmurs the word, they had to have had an inside job, like an inside person, then have them not have had it and come up with a reason why, just how they were smart enough to do this. Because part of the reason that this movie is just so hard to buy is this seems pretty easy to pull off. This seems shockingly easy. Considering that you would have the security forces of 20 nations. This seems disturbingly easy for them to be able to do. Um, so, yeah, I would say it would be more fun if they didn't if it wasn't an inside job. If the main bad guy here, who's played by Antony Starr, I'll go ahead and spoil that. It's not that big of a spoiler. Uh, it's at least it's the least surprising thing that happens in this movie, because he just kind of walks in, and you've previously seen him, but then but he's been like an unnamed character up until that point, and then he so it's but to a sighted audience, you would see it, you'd be like, isn't that Antony Starr from The Boys? I feel like that's going to come back around. But to a blind audience, we got like his description, because nobody had used a name yet, because that's how audio description works. We don't like to use names until somebody else uses the name. So he's got an Australian accent here, and a reason for the season of terrorism. And luckily, a couple of people get away early on, including Viola, our American president, and the British, I want to say prime minister. I did kind of lose track of all of the other countries, because I don't know that everybody's always like the number one person from their country, but I'm going to assume prime minister. So, yeah, she does manage to break away from the chaos, and she's got her Secret Service agent with her. Her top Secret Service agent, Ramon Rodriguez, is safe as well, somewhere else in the building of the rest of her family, and they're trying to get out, and Anthony Anderson's trying to keep them alive. This is a departure for Anthony Anderson as a role in general, because he's not really required to ever cut it up or make a joke. This is a really just straightforward performance from him. Saw him on social, and he was really excited about G20, and I was like, I would be excited about this too. For you, this is somebody, I actually offered you a role where you didn't have to sit there and make jokes the whole time. It's which he has been he has had to do throughout his career. He's done some straight dramatic performances before, but he was in The Departed. I don't know if you remember that, but he was in The Departed. He's been in a Martin Scorsese movie before. So he's just so rarely offered the opportunity to just be an actor and not be funny, and not be like, could you crack jokes? Could you be the crazy side character here? No, he didn't have to do that. So he just has to keep. He also has his son, played by an actor who I just don't know, and it's really not that relevant. So he has to keep his two kids alive. Obviously, Marseille Martin being in here means that she's going to get infinitely more screen time than the brother, because she's older and a celebrity herself, and she'll have opportunities to uniquely kick ass on her own, be the badass like her mom, Viola, who is like a war veteran. So that's how you get this. The White House is down. Olympus has fallen, and London and Angel. We are here. She is she's here, and she gonna save herself. Viola Davis is the badass president we didn't know we needed. And I've seen this doesn't have the warmest critical reception, and it's so hard to know why, because I don't think people vote honestly anymore on things. It has like a 5.1 on IMDb. I'm like, this isn't a 5.1 movie. This is perfectly fine. If you liked White House Down and you liked Olympus Has Fallen, there's zero reason for you to not like G20. There is not worse. It is absolutely on par, especially when you broaden out to the fact that we have 2 sequels to Olympus Has Fallen. For some reason. Shit just keeps falling. and Gerard Butler is there to clean up after it. So, uh, yeah, it's the same thing, and it's actually kind of more fun because instead of having a president who has a Secret Service agent that then takes over the movie, like Ramon Rodriguez does not become the lead of the movie. No, Viola is fully capable of handling herself and being a badass, which is such a cool role for her because she never gets to do that. We don't get to see action star Viola Davis, even though we get to see her as Amanda Waller. We don't get to see her really kick ass in anything. Uh, but here, like she gets into fights, you know, she's she's trying to save the day. Like this is a great role for her. I see why she took this on. She was like, I know this isn't going to win me an Oscar, but damn, this is unlike anything else that had been offered before. So yeah, of course I'll do this. you know. And she brings with it, she brings her Viola Davis level of acting. Like she doesn't ever let up. She's never bad. She's just uh she's just in this. If is the movie perfect? No, no. Of course, it's silly. It's doing donuts on the front lawn of of the White House. Silly. They really don't like. It really does feel like that these terrorists just like walk in and they're just like, "What's up? We're here." Yeah, your security forces suck. it's it really feels like that they just easily take over. Um, and it shouldn't feel like that. It should feel more like, you know, it should feel like the segment where they take over takes like 10 to 15 minutes to play out because it's so involved and intricate. And that way it makes it feel like Antony Starr is like 10 steps ahead and has planned for everything, planned for every little. Like that would have been way cooler than, oh, we have an inside job. Because then when you realize who the inside person is, you're like, what that person give away? Like, well, they're like, oh, well, the plans of the interior of the building. I can't believe that's that hard to find, you know. Um, all you would have needed to do is have been in the building before. It's called casing the joint. I can't imagine these are uniquely. They didn't build a new facility that had never existed. Nobody had ever seen the interior of. So, yeah, I kind of like this. This is fine. I'm not mad at it. Um, it was a nice time waster of an action movie. Uh, you know, I think films like this have a place. Sometimes people get angry at these movies and they're like, these are dumb, dumb. When did we stop liking dumb action movies? We have loved dumb action movies forever. It basically summarizes the entire careers of most action stars. Most action stars have fleshed out careers full of dumb action movies, if we really want to be honest. But then we excuse them because like every once in a while they make one that feels somehow elevated. Like Bruce Willis makes Die Hard, Arnold Schwarzenegger makes Terminator. Uh, I'm not really sure what Steven Seagal made that was elevated, but I'm gonna go with Under Siege. Maybe it was executive decision, but he was barely in that. I'm gonna go with Under Siege. I'm gonna assume that that was the movie. um, Jean-Claude Van Damme, same thing. Not really sure which one elevated his elevated him to the level, but Kickboxer, I guess, was it Kickboxer? But yeah, like everybody, Jet Li, right? We had Jet Li for a while there, uh, doing his thing. I remember Romeo Must Die. That was a pretty cool movie. So, um, yeah, the actor they come in and they do their action stuff, and I don't know that these movies. Oh, wasn't Anthony Anderson Romeo Must Die? Anyway, yeah, these actors they don't necessarily need action films to be uniquely amazing. We just need them to be fun and action packed and good and have some fun acting and have a mustache twirling villain. And Anthony Starr is really good here as the villain. He's of course good at playing villains because he plays Homelander, who's like one of the best, most complicated villains ever. Just the love to hate him. Also, kind of feeling sorry for him at the same time. Kind of a really complex character when you get a lot of his backstory. So, would I recommend G20? Yes. Do I think the audio description is good? Yeah. It's an action film. I thought the audio description was good. There are plenty of times when the action sequences are play out really nicely. I liked pretty much all of the sequences except for sort of towards the end. There's something that they're doing with a helicopter, and it made it feel like that it was getting close to the building. Like there were reactions within the film, but there wasn't really ever a representation in the audio description to let me know how in danger we were with the helicopter crashing into the building. Like it just seemed like that they were cutting back and forth, and I just kind of assumed. But you know what they say about assume? To assume is to make an ass out of you and me. So don't make me do that. Is this? You will see better movies this year. You will. You'll see better movies this year. It's not going to win the Oscars. I don't think Viola. I don't think Viola gives a shit. To be totally honest, I think she signed up for this for the same reason she did Suicide Squad movies, because girl does not want to be on 24/7. You know, she's not trying every time out of the gate to win an Oscar. Every once in a while, she just wants to show up into a movie and do something that's fun. As an actor, isn't that kind of cool? Like, that's why people do Marvel movies, is A, for the money, and B, because they're fun, presumably. Like, I mean, you get to dress up in cool costumes and pretend you're fighting stuff on blue screen, green screen, aliens, and just uh, it's like LARPing. So, uh, yeah, I she's LARPing as president here. I don't. Somebody offered her the opportunity to be president. I don't know why she would turn that down. Um, I'm not going to shade her. I'm not. Nobody here deserves any sort of shade. But I will say that I did get it wrong. The whole guessing of, ooh, who's the person? I got it wrong because there was somebody who's introduced, and I was like, oh, it's got to be them. I kind of didn't give the movie enough credit for coming up with something interesting. I kind of thought it was going to be the most obvious choice. And when somebody showed up in a role and they had a little bit more of a name to them, I was like, oh, yeah, it's got to be that person. No, it was somebody else. So I was like, oh, well, okay. Well, is that? Oh, well, kudos. Um, there's some, I don't know, there's some loose plot about a cryptocurrency globally that is leading this, that they're going to talk about at G20 that she's pitching, and it doesn't really matter. It's just some reason to get everybody together in a room. Who cares? Don't overthink it. I think that's probably the takeaway for G20 is don't overthink it. It's an action movie with a very competent audio description throughout, and decent character description. From what I remember, it does the thing where it tells you what somebody looks like before it tells you who they are. So because of that, it has to describe people, because not everybody inherently has their name said first. So it has to give you some sort of descriptor. That's probably one of the best reasons to do it this way, is if you do it that way, then you have to describe them as something. Like, otherwise it gets really monotonous, because you'd be like, a man, a woman, a man, a woman, a man, a woman. And then you just have a whole bunch of men who have never been named and a whole bunch of women who have never been named. So that's one of the benefits of doing it that way. G20. I'm giving G20, believe it or not, I'm going to give this one B-. I had enough fun with it I don't think it's great. I don't think it reinvented anything. But it's one of those fun presidential action movies. Um, and it didn't overstay its welcome. It moves at a pretty good pace. I it's just I can't give it like the intelligence award of the year, like the wow, that was so original, and it was very smart, and none of that, but it was fun. And I think we should have spaces for popcorn movies to be able to earn positive reviews for being popcorn entertainment. So yeah, G20 is exactly what you think it is. If people are walking in and not liking it, then they probably never were going to like it to begin with. It basically said what it was, and then gave me what it was, and I'm not mad. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.